Hi everybody, welcome back to Some Guys Movie Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Avatar: The Way of Water, and boy do I have some thoughts. So let's get into it. Alright, Avatar: The Way of Water is the sequel to 2009's Avatar, directed by James Cameron. To start, I'm going to go over the things that I liked about this movie, and then we'll go into the things that I didn't. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that didn't work for me in this movie, but let's start out with my pros. I think it goes without saying, Avatar, when it came out in 2009, was a visual spectacle. The CGI was incredible. It looked ahead of its time, it looked realistic for its time, and it was pretty groundbreaking. And I think this one does the same thing. The visuals and CGI in this movie are remarkable. You can tell a lot of hard work and time went into crafting the CGI for this movie. It definitely tops the first one as far as when you look at the skin of the Na'vi and just small details look incredible. The water is obviously a highlight. It's the way of water. And it looks phenomenal. It's the main draw for this movie, for sure. As you can tell in the trailers, this movie does have a family dynamic. Jake Sully and Neytiri now have kids of their own, and we get to see them and their journey through this world. And I did really appreciate that. I have a kid myself, so it just really connected to me. It was relatable. I did really appreciate that James Cameron went for that, because I feel like a lot of these blockbuster movies don't really delve into the family dynamic. The last thing I wanted to bring up that I like about this movie was the third act. I do feel like when the action picks up, the movie definitely feels more cohesive and it works better for me. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of my pros end. I didn't love this movie, and I'm going to go over why. There's a bunch of reasons. To start, I was really disappointed to find out that this movie reuses a lot of the same plot points from the first film. It just came across really lazy to me. The first one, it borrowed elements from other movies, and that's okay. A lot of films do that. I think we come to expect films nowadays to borrow some elements here and there, but to borrow elements from the first movie and then still be borrowing elements from other movies, it just comes across really lazy. I wish more time would have been spent on the story. I think that could have really elevated this film beyond just the visual spectacle. There's one human kid character in this movie that I found very distracting to what was going on, and I kind of suspected that they were possibly just a plot device for later in the film, and unfortunately towards the end, that's what they ultimately felt like. Another thing I didn't like in this movie, characters made decisions that weren't well explained or weren't well thought out, and I know to some extent this happens in probably almost every movie, but it especially stood out here because one character makes a decision and you're like, I don't really know that that's what they would do given what we know about them already from the first film, and so I didn't really love that aspect of the film. Previously I reviewed No Time to Die and Tenet, and those were pretty long movies. Now this movie is 3 hours and 12 minutes and it's way too long. I felt every minute of it. The third act definitely picks up, there's a lot more action, but towards the middle, I definitely felt like stuff could have been cut. There were times where I just felt like James Cameron wanted to show off his amazing visuals, and we already got it. The amazings look incredible. We don't need to spend extra time just focused on that. Let's move the plot along, and maybe we could have trimmed that down and it would have been a better overall experience for me, at least. When it's all said and done, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. 6 is like a good movie. I felt like this was good, but could have been way better, and definitely not as good as the first one. I'd probably rate like the first one like an 8, and so this one's definitely a drop for me, and I'm hoping that they can improve when 3 comes out and 4 and 5, however many they're doing. Alright guys, so what did you think? Leave your comments down below, like, subscribe, share, and we'll definitely see you next time. Thanks, bye-bye.